Right now, somewhere in you, there's a conversation you're winning. The words are perfect. The timing is flawless. You've just delivered the line that ends it, the one that finally makes them understand. And you've delivered it maybe 40 times tonight, each version a little sharper than the last. There's only one problem. The other person isn't there. They never will be. This conversation is happening on a dark ceiling at 2 a.m. or in a parked car with the engine off, and not one word of it will ever be said out loud. You've been told this is what depth costs, that you live in your head because you see what the sleeping people around you can't. Tonight, I'm going to take that explanation away from you, because it flatters you, and it's keeping you exactly where you are. Left alone, you will analyze your life far more thoroughly than you ever actually live it. And the reason you can build a flawless conversation in your head and feel almost nothing during the real ones is not the reason you think. The story goes like this. You are not like them. You see the patterns other men walk straight past. You feel the weight of things they shrug off. While they trade small talk, you're 3 layers down. And that distance, the loneliness in a full room, the life you keep rehearsing instead of living, is just the tax on a mind that runs deeper than most. It's a good story. There's even truth in it. You probably are perceptive. You probably do see more than the man beside you. And there's an entire industry online ready to pour gasoline on it, telling you the lonely man is the awakened man, that the herd is asleep and you're the one truly seeing. They hand you your isolation back as a medal. But watch what the story actually does. It takes the thing that hurts and renames it a gift. It tells you there is nothing to fix. It tells you to be proud of the very wall between you and everyone else. A story that asks nothing of you and flatters you while you suffer isn't wisdom. It's an anesthetic. So let me take the gift back for a moment and show you what's underneath it. You don't overthink because you see more. You overthink because thinking is the one room in your life that has never betrayed you. Out there, in the conversation, the risk, the moment you could be judged or wanted or refused, you have no control. In your head, you're the author of every line. You can run the scene 100 times and never lose. Out there, you only ever get one take, and you might. The mind that won't go quiet isn't deep. It's afraid. The 2 a.m. spiral, the rehearsed conversations, the decision you've examined from 90 angles and still haven't made. That's not a great mind running hot. That's a man pacing a locked room he built himself and calling the pacing thinking. The depth is real, but somewhere along the way, it stopped being a window and became a place to hide. In 1921, Carl Jung published a book called Psychological Types. In it, he mapped a kind of man you'll recognize instantly, because you've been him your whole life. Jung called him the introverted intuitive, the man oriented not to the world outside, but to the current running underneath it, who senses, sometimes years early, where things are heading. Jung's own words for this type were the mystical dreamer and seer. That's the flattering part, and it's true. But Jung didn't stop there. He saw what happens to a man when one faculty grows enormous and the rest are left to starve. When thinking becomes the whole kingdom, something gets exiled to the edge of it. Jung called it the inferior function. And in the man who lives in his head, the exiled one is feeling. Here's what he understood that the flattery merchants never mention. The exiled part doesn't die. It waits out in the cold at the edge of the firelight, and because you never let it in, it never grows up. It stays 4 years old. And it has a will of its own. In Jung's words, it attacks, it fascinates, and it so spins us about that we are no longer masters of ourselves. That's why the man who can take apart anyone's psychology goes cold and clumsy the moment real feeling enters the room. The man who sees everything and still can't see the person across the table, waiting to be met. The mind didn't make you free. It made you a brilliant warden of a very small cell. And the longer you stay in it, the louder the exiled part of you, the part that could actually touch another life, howls in a language you've forgotten how to hear. You don't fix this by thinking your way out of thinking. That's the trap closing again. You come down a different way, simpler and harder than anything your mind would design. The next time you catch the spiral at 2 a.m., name it out loud. Not "I'm processing," not "I'm being thorough." Say, "I'm afraid, and I'm hiding in my head where it can't reach me." The spiral only survives while it's disguised as depth. Strip the costume off the fear, and it gets a great deal smaller. You've spent your life behind a telescope, seeing the far thing in flawless detail, while the person beside you goes unmet. Put it down. Take the half-formed thought, the unpolished feeling, the thing you'd normally refine for 3 days, and say it to one person before it's ready, clumsily, out loud. The exiled part of you only grows up when you let it into the room while it's still raw. And the one that costs the most, make the decision before the analysis is finished. Pick the work, send the message, take the step, while part of your mind is still screaming you don't have enough information. You never will. Some answers don't exist until after you've acted. They live on the far side of the doing, and no amount of thinking reaches them from this side. None of this asks you to become shallow. It asks you to stop using your depth as a place to hide from your life. There's a version of you on the other side of this, and he isn't who the flattery promised. He still sees far. He still feels the deep current under things, but he no longer lives up there alone. He's come down into his own life. He acts before he's certain. He says the raw thing while it's still clumsy, and he lets people meet the man underneath, instead of the polished envoy he used to send in his place. He is not the man with all the answers. He's the man who finally moved without one. If you've ever felt the cold come over you in the exact moment you felt the most, that's this same exile in a different coat. There's a film on this channel waiting for you about it. But not tonight. Tonight, do only this. Find the conversation you've been winning in your head for days, the one you keep sharpening, and before your mind can stop you, say the first clumsy line of it to the person it's actually for. The life you keep rehearsing is the only one you get. Stop perfecting it in the dark. Go live the next clumsy minute of it.